Are there any videos though? Alright, here we go. So these are all the current classes in the game. Let's go through it real quick. We're gonna do a super quick skim and then we're gonna find a video or something. Alright, so this is the League. Standard League, Arch Nemesis, and Hardcore Arch Nemesis. What does this mean though? Default game mode. Okay, Arch Nemesis. Combine Arch Nemesis modifiers to create very dangerous but rewarding bosses. This is the default path of Exile League. Old League, new one is Crucible. Oh, Arch Nemesis is the old league? Many things seem natural as you create your first character. You're presented with temporary league. These last 3 months, which are season leagues. Permanent leagues, which are standard and hardcore. All characters migrate, so this is Eternal Realm. Perfect. Solo self-found. No trading or playing with anybody else. That's cool. Pog. By far, the most common way to play is temporary softcore trade league. Center, which is also what most guides you find are written on. Legit. So there are seven classes. That's a 7, right? Yeah, with the little thing. It's more like a cross, but 7. Okay, whatever. Alright, there's 7 classes in Path of Exile. And they have ascendancies which give them more classes. We've been learning a little bit, just a touch. Alright. The combination of passive and ascendancies open up insane builds. Cool. There are 3 pure classes and 4 hybrids. Red and green. Class socket colors. What? Oh, the characteristic. Oh, duelist. Wait, what? Oh, this is the main class. Don't worry about sockets. Okay, so this is a strength and dexterity build. So this is, I'm assuming, like half long range, half in your face build. Okay, I'm assuming, but we haven't even got to the second section. Alright. Armor and evasion hybrid. So you tank it and then you dodge. Got it. Start on the bottom side of the passive tree. No idea what that means, but we're starting from the bottom. And now we're just like right here, just like right there. Alright. We're not here yet, but we're right there. Alright. So, preferred archetypes. Melee. Strikes. Shields. Range. Well, ranged and bow are different. Oh, right, like daggers and things, I'm assuming. And bows. We're not sure how this works yet. Physical, fire, and cold damage. Frenzy charges and endurance charges. No idea what those are. I think he's just saying on average they use more red and green gems. Oh, true. Ascendancies. Champion. A gladiator. And a slayer. All of those sound pretty cool, but I don't know if they are. Was that it? Oh, that was just a duelist. Okay. Oh, I was like, wow, is that the whole game? Wow, that's not very exciting. All right, here we go. Ooh, look at that. We got the Scion, the Jack of all trades. Green, blue, and red hybrid class. So it means strength, intellect, and dexterity, which is a whole bunch of shit. Branches out in any direction and build types. Has 2 separate starting points. Unlocks at the end of Act 3. Okay, so you don't even get access to this at the beginning. Okay. Becomes the Ascendant. can choose 2 smaller versions of any other classes. Even though it sounds like a great idea to start with a Scion, due to her versatility, she's more suited for advanced players and builds. Yeah, you gotta do a quest. Super complicado. Yeah, my main focus is gonna be on either one of these. I'm a one color kind of guy. So we're either gonna go for like red or green. I'm not really a caster, but we can go blue, I guess, if I need to. I'm assuming blue is intellect. I'm just assuming. Okay. Here we go, gang. A shadow. Alright. Green and blue build. Dexterity and intelligence. Evasion and energy shield. So this is kind of like a rogue, but not really. Kind of like a rogue, but what kind of weapons? Melee, strikes, spells, damage. Oh, this is the trap guy. Ah. Yeah, this is the trap guy, right? Traps, mines, agile, elusive, power charges, frenzy charges. He becomes an assassin, cool, a saboteur, and a tricky trickster. I don't like it. Honestly, this guy's even confusing me. Left my ass off. This stuff's all kind of meaningless. All classes use all colors. Yeah, but I think this is like a mainly kind of thing. But they're getting my mind in the right idea. You know, they're getting my head in the right idea. Alright, next. We're gonna go Templar. Oh, I think they redid the Templar, so the Templar is usable now. But as far as I knew, the Templar was not usable. It was Garbaggio. I think he's like a melee caster. Red and blue, yeah, strength and intelligence hybrid. It starts on the top left of the passive tree. Melee, slams, range, spells, totems, and brands. Power charges, endurance. Hell yeah. Guardians and Hierophants. Inquisitors pod. Templar was the righteous fire build for a long time. It's different now. Yeah, I think actually with the new updates to Chieftain, I think Chieftain is gonna be the new righteous fire build. Or is that Chieftain? I think the Chieftain? Chief? If that's what it is? Fuck, I don't even know if that's what it is. Here you go, Witch. Ooh. Witch. Now, can you create your own character, or are they all like, look like this? Blue class. Intelligence based, we figured. Shield based. True, you gotta shield up as a wizard. Starts on the top side. Started from the top side and now we're here. True. Spells, DOT, and minions. Oh, this is the minions. Ooh, cool. Power charges. Elemental. Okay, so you can become an elementalist. So just all of these elements, lightning, fire, you know, but mainly since it's POE, you specialize just on one thing and one thing only. So it's either lightning or fire, you know. A necromancer, which would be your minion build. An occultist, which I don't know what it is. Hybrid of some sort? I wish they gave more information about the ascendancies. Ranger. Oh, Ranger. Here we go. You can actually make a minion build that works really well. Ooh, pretty bug. Alright, here we go. Green class. Dexterity based. Evasion based. Starts at the bottom right side of the passive tree. We're using bows, ranged, projectiles, and melee. So this is a rogue class. So this is the trapper class. Fucking goofy, look at that ass. Nerds. And this is the rogue class. That's cool. Alright. You can either go into Deadeye, which is an archer. Pathfinder. which is a rogue, and a raider, which is, I don't know. That's cool. Here we go. Now we get into the real class. The true class. The Marauder. Yeah. Let's go, gang. Who's ready? Who's excited? Red class. True. Strength-based. Like, that's what I like to hear. Starts on the bottom left of the tree. Started at the bottom, and we're still here. But let's go. Alright, melee, slams, and totems. I don't know what totems are. Should probably learn what that is. Physical and fire damage. Endurance charges. Berserker. That's what we like to hear. That sounds cool. Chieftain. That sounds cool. But that means if we go like this, we'd have to go Righteous Fire. And I don't know if I want to go Righteous Fire. Because Righteous Fire is pretty passive in it. A Juggernaut build. Which is also like a tanky build. So we might go like Ranger. Or Witch. Is a Duelist any good? A Gladiator sounds cool. Alright, let's go. Next thing. We said we were gonna skim and we got stuck on the class thing for like an hour. Alright, here we go, gang. Alright, campaign is 10 acts long. Cool, cool, cool. Very nice. Since none of the 7 classes actually have any baseline skills, you have a lot of freedom when it comes to skill choice. Here's an example. Fireball is a regular spell which fires a single fireball projectile, which is a fucking gem. True, true, true. Lesser multiple projectile support is an early game support that combines projectiles. Notice the tags at the top under the name. Support and projectile. This is projectile, spell, area of effect, and Firaga. Okay. Okay, we're learning. We're learning. We're soaking it in, gang. Yeah, Righteous Fire is fun, but gets boring pretty quick. Yeah, it seems kind of boring. Because you're just like kind of like standing there and like being a meme. So I mean, it's cool. It's a cool build to get to, but it's just not my thing. Both linked together is an item produced that fires 3 projectiles of fire instead of 1. What? Oh. Okay, so this one powers up the top one. So this gives 6 to 15% less damage, but I fire 2 more fire blasts. But then my supported skill gets 10% more damage. That's crazy. Yeah, this bumps this up. One is a regular gem and one support when linked. Yeah. This is called a 2-link system. Ah, bro, we're getting into like Yu-Gi-Oh terms, baby. I activate my 2-link fireball. Oh, bro. Because of the total of 2 gems that are linked together. For early campaigns, you're looking for get 3 or 4 links. Oh, okay. So every weapon here has gem slots. So like to break it down in D4 terms, because I've never played this. So a weapon's strength is like dictated by its gem slot availability. So that's why people are like trying to farm 6 link, because those are the best because you can put more things on it. Now, question, does the base item matter? Does it boost up your stats? Or does any 6 link go? Like, as long as it has 6 holes in it, we're partying, baby. Let's go. Woo! That's a question I have. Here's an example. There's that triple projectile. Oh! That did not work like I think that was gonna work. Oh! Unleashes a fireball. Core skill, fire 2 additional. I was thinking it was firing 2 additional, like straight. D4 is damage, 1 suffix, and 3 affix in comparison. Yes, it has 3 damage suffixes and 6 affixes, I think. Holy shit. Okay. No, that was just a different effect. I thought you were gonna spam more fireballs, but it turned it into AOE fireball. Does it say AOE? It says AOE, doesn't it? Support projectile. Yeah, but I want my projectiles to go straight to hit the boss. Not to go wide. Or maybe I want them to go wide. What the fuck do I know? I've never played the game. Okay, here we go. Same principle applies to all active skills. Cast 100 projectiles per second or convert it into fire damage type. These are endless. Oh boy. You want them wider for clear speed, but there's gems that do what you want as well. Oh boy. As you're leveling up, as you start out, you need to pay special attention to the color of your skill gems and sockets in your items. Oh, so this is how... So they stole how the hearts work from this. The blue and red sockets are linked, and the red socket at the bottom is not. Oh, okay. So that doesn't mean they. So it doesn't mean they're all linked. So they're not all gonna stack with each other. They're just a couple. Some of them stack with each other, and some of them are just on the thing. Oh boy. Although this can be changed with a chromatic orb, of course. Okay. So we've hit our first currency. We've encountered our first currency, gang. Here we are. Alright. Oh, he's already pulling his hair before even starting, yeah. So we can change the color of our thing with this. Reforges the color of sockets on an item. So if we find a really cool item, we have to get chromatic orbs to re-roll the hole and get the hole the color we want it. So we can put it in the hole. Got it. Okay. What? Make note that an item's attribute requirement makes it more or less likely to receive matching sockets. Well, okay, so yeah, so if an item has like high strength, you have a higher chance of rolling red sockets. And if an item has like high strength and you need a blue socket, you're kind of fucked. Okay. You want to get as many links as possible, especially for your main skill, up to the maximum of 6 in-body armors / two-handed weapons. Okay? While skills aren't tied to a class, they do level up with you. When a gem has gathered enough XP, click on the icon and you can level it up. Okay. What? Wait. Oh boy. Huh? My head hurts. Okay, okay. Okay, hold on. For each level up, you will also earn 1 passive point to spend on the passive tree. There are ways to respec these points through the Orbs of Regret, but you won't have access to enough of them in the early game. For the best game experience, make sure that you are following a build guide. Okay? Choosing items to equip. Alright, we've encountered like 6 pieces of currency already, alright? You won't be able to manipulate the socket types or colors early on. So early on in the game, we're just fucked. But it becomes easier the further you go as you farm more items and currency, like chromatic orbs, jeweler orbs, which are reforges the number of sockets on an item. What does that even mean? Does that mean you can gamba the amount of sockets an item has? Is this even worth it? I hear people farming items. I don't hear people gambling sockets. I hear people farming for 6 sockets. Do you gamble for 6 sockets? Okay, alright. Orb of Fusing reforges the links between sockets on the items. So by reforging, does that mean you have a chance to like unlink something? My brain is confuzzled. Okay. At this point, the stats of okay. Item become more valuable, and you have to find, craft, or trade for upgrades. While the stats vary wildly from build to build, in the end game, everyone always wants to have the same few things to get started. Sockets and colors for your skills, movement speed, boots only, strong weapon, spell damage for casters, elemental resistance, cold, fire, lightning, up to 75%, maximum life, damage stats, attack, cast speed, spell damage, elemental damage, bonus to skills, comma, dot. You know? Alright, we're getting to it. I'm ramping, I can feel it, we're getting there, There's a lot of possible affixes for each item slot you can roll, with different values, and have varying tiers of power. Many won't help your build at all, or only start to matter at later. If you are following a guide, make sure to take a closer look at the preferred stats. Alright, here we go. Understanding currency. Alright, there is no gold. Instead, there are dozens of currencies that are used both for trading and crafting. Each of them has a special property that alters in a certain way. The relative value can be understood by their availability from the market and visit the trading site. The most commonly currency is Chaos Orbs. Those are the orbs I heard of for cheap items, and Divine Orbs for expensive items. The Mirror of Kalandra is the rarest and most valuable currency in the game. What does it do? Creates a mirrored copy of an item. What? So if you have like a super pog item, you just copy this and sell it for oodles of noodles? Wait, can you create like can you copy well, no, it's seasonal. So you have to use it like in a season, right? Because people don't play on the Eternal Realm. Boy, is the rarest and most valuable currency in the game. On average, it will drop once every 10,000 hours of gameplay. So don't expect to find one anytime soon. 100% true. Items sold to vendors grant specific currencies. Depending on the item's properties, you can either receive orbs of transmutation, orbs of alteration, orbs of alchemy, or shards that combine into a full one of these. Aside from that, The game also has an elaborate vendor recipe system that allows more specific exchanges, like leveling items that roll specific mods. Here comes the dagger in my eye. Definitely don't sell it for dirt. What damn ass would do that? I know, right? True. It literally here it states it's the rarest and most valuable currency in the game. Wow. Wow, imagine having that. Oh man. That's crazy. Alright. Here we go, gang. Alright, further reading. To ensure smooth leveling on your first character, we have a whole game guide beginner section right here on Maxroll. It covers the most important topics, like everything, and everything. Oh boy.
Hi everyone, and welcome to my updated POE beginner's guide. I want to give you everything you need to just jump into the game and get started if you do it for the first time, if you don't know anything. A lot of people say that, it's quite intimidating with...
It is intimidating. How long ago did you make this guide though? Bro, what the fuck? This it is? It is an hour long. POE the basics of Path of Exile. That's just... Yeah, that is number one. That literally is number one. You're right. You're 100% right. Slides and teacher's notes. Slides, bro. Slides to go with an hour-long video. And notes. Bro, we're gonna have to add this to watch later. Holy shit.
Hi.
Is there a path? Bro, there's a part 3. There's a part 3. There's a part 6. Alright, gang. Okay. So, we just need to watch about 12 hours of content. And we're ready for POE. We're ready to start playing, guys. Yeah, each video is about like an hour to 2 hours long. Plus slides and notes. I was looking for like a 20-minute video. What the fuck? Holy shit. Oh, brother. You don't need this, just play around and have fun.
Hi everyone, look.
How long ago? This is 2 years ago? How long ago did you create your academy, Sis? 2 years ago as well. Ah, POE must have been popping off 2 years ago. I don't believe this. I read the guide, and I honestly do not think you can put a 7-minute guide together to help me understand like literally anything. That's not even enough time to cover the classes. That's not even like, literally Like, this beginner guide did not even go into the Ascensions. It didn't even bother. It just said, here they are. If you're wondering, looking for the future, that's what they are. I have no idea if Ascendancies even matter. Do they make your character a completely different thing? Are they like job stones? Like job stones in Final Fantasy? Do they give you access to a different fucking thing? So it does the so as soon as you equip your job stone, you gain access to your final 5 skill trees. You know, I don't know, but you know, I don't think that can be done in 6 minutes. I'm not judging you, Schwingy. This is probably a super like fast guide. Super fast guide, bro. 300,000 views for fucking Path of Exile University. Actually, this actually looks pretty cool. That actually looks pretty cool. Out of anything I want to watch, I want to see the classes and see what everything is. Alright, we're gonna watch that. Oh, it didn't open. Me too, Loki. I don't know what they all do. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the first thing I always like research, all the classes and what they evolve into and what they do. That's what lets me know what I want to be in the future. Like, I like melee classes. I would be down to play like a melee, like, you know, like fucking, you know what sounds cool? Fucking a gladiator or a slayer. Those sound cool. But this guy right here, this picture of this guy is not giving me any confidence. You know, and a strength and dexterity hybrid build, I don't know. I'd probably want to focus on one stat. So maybe I'd go like Berserker. You know, but then that means I'd probably have to be stuck with like something like Righteous Fire build. So maybe Ranger or Witch. I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't know.
Open the passive skill screen.
Alright, let's go see. Alright, this is John's first experience with Path of Exile.
Open the passive skill screen. Spend your passive skill point.
Okay.
You gain a skill point. Press P or click on this one.
Alright.
Oh, this is the moment everyone stops playing, isn't it? Yeah, this is the moment when you all look and go, you know what? I'm good. I don't fancy learning this. This is like, and I've explained this to you before, this is the quit moment. I get that Path of Exile is incredibly complicated, and I've got nothing against complicated games. What I've got a problem with is the presentation of complexity.
Yeah.
If I am teaching someone a really complex thing,
I agree.
I don't hand them the most complex book or text or give them the most complex lesson to start off with. I start them off with something basic. And then more and more and more, and you add on and you add on and you add on. This is the skill tree in Path of Exile. This is ridiculous. This is
100%
to give a new player immediately. Yeah. You know what would be good? Just this.
The human mind literally becomes overwhelmed by choice when they're exposed with too many choices. Now, after reading that basic guide, I can comprehend that each class has a certain attack point of this tree where you start at. You know how, you know, some of us start from the bottom, some start from the bottom left, bottom right, some start from the top. I can see why they display the whole tree, but the way they just, as soon as you click that, that's his first stat point, and he sees the fucking big ass tree. Like, maybe they should just like show you the small snippet for your class and like open it up slowly. Unless you can just jump off. Because I know some classes have 2 starting points. Like, I think the witch has 2 starting points. I don't comprehend, but this is I think he's playing a witch too. He's starting in the middle and in the center. Yeah, hopefully they fix that with POE 2. I think POE 2 is gonna be really good, hopefully. But we'll see. Demo beta starts. Excuse me, next year.
Just give them this bit, and once they've got this bit, have a little button that says, you know, zoom out. Just present them with this to start off with.
Yes. 100% agree. 100% agree. Like bro, literally me the other night, I literally was trying to order food, but so many choices, my brain was fried at the moment. I was so late. I became overwhelmed by choice. I could literally have ordered anything and just been happy, but I just got overwhelmed and put the phone down and just kept on playing for like another hour. It's just so I can see why people quit, but we're not quitters. We'll figure it out eventually. I'm sure, maybe.
Choosing a character class. What do you need to know?
I don't
First
know.
off, Path of Exile is not like most other ARPGs, where the character determines your skills or what weapons you get to use.
Okay.
Many people may tell you that any class can do anything in the game, and whilst technically true, it's also not right. Doing everything means doing it well, and your witch using ground slamming
Still a
won't
witch.
be as good as a marauder ground slamming.
True.
She just doesn't have the strength available to her. That is why a basic understanding of the makeup of the skill tree is required to understand the best classes to use.
That looks cool.
Which leads me nicely onto attributes.
What was that?
There are 3 different attributes in the game, and these will determine the weapons and skill gems you can use.
3 attributes.
They also
Okay.
give you 2 other things.
I can understand that.
Strength is found in the highest concentrations on the bottom left of the tree. As you move away, the amount of strength nodes gets more scarce. That's also true for life and melee damage nodes. Every 2 points of strength grants 1 maximum life.
Okay.
At 5, and it grants 1% increased melee damage. This means
Easy.
that the character closer to the bottom left of the tree will be better at melee skills.
That's where the barbarians and warriors start. Okay, we're getting
and
it,
will have
gang.
more life. They will also have more heavy 2-handed weapon nodes
Ooh.
like swords and shields, and will favour armour. The Marauder is located here, and you will not find a better life-based tank in
There
the
it
game.
is.
The bottom right of the tree is the dexterity
That's the
area,
rangers.
and this grants 2 accuracy per 2 and 1% increased evasion per 5. You're also going to find a lot
Evasion.
of bow, projectile and poison nodes.
All right.
This is the home of the ranger.
Cool.
And she's great with bows.
Let's go.
Between these 2 is the duelist, a hybrid between strength and dexterity.
That's a trapper.
This will be better
Oh,
at
the
tanking
duelist.
than the ranger, but also more evasive than the marauder. They also start with a good mix of strength and dexterity, meaning they are more suited for red or green skills in the early game. The top of the tree
Okay.
is the realm of intelligence and the home of the witch.
There's the
Every 2
witch.
intelligence grants 1 mana, and 5 will get you 1% increased energy shield, which is a protective layer to help
You need
those
that.
with small life pools stay
True.
alive. The witch needs this more than most because of the scarcity of the life nodes in the top middle of the tree. To
Yeah,
the
there's
left of the
nothing.
witch, you'll find the Templar.
That's
a character
nice,
suited
necromancer.
for
Oh, that
spellcasting
thing.
and melee, or a combination.
Oh, it
of
makes sense.
both
It's
in
between
cases.
intellect and
To
strength,
the right
right?
of the witch, we have the Shadow, a hybrid magic
That's the
and
trapper.
agility character specializing in claws, daggers, or even traps and mines.
Yep.
In the middle of the tree, you'll find the Scion's starting area, but we're not going to talk about her in this video because she's more challenging to deal
Meh.
with, and you also don't get access to her until you get to the end of Act
Okay.
3.
Let's go.
Now, if the video ended here, your choices would be a lot more clear,
It would.
but it doesn't.
Oh god.
Each of the classes has 3 unique ascendancies, and these grant powerful passive skills that you can pick up periodically as you level. And they really can, and these grant powerful passive. But it doesn't. Each of the classes has
It's gonna go fast. We gotta catch
3
you guys.
unique
Right
ascendancies.
Whoa!
These grant powerful.
Okay. Assassin, death is a banquet. It's up to the murderer to write the menu. Oh, that sounds cool. What's cooking, baby? Trickster, everyone knows how to die. Some just need a little nudge to get them started. Oh, that sounds really bad. The Saboteur. Artists need not be present to make a lasting impression. That guy's a trapper for sure. Alright, here we go.
Passive skill.
Okay. This is the archer, the rogue. So to become a raider, all raiders are rapier style. No hunt is complete without gutting and the skinning. Alright. Deadeye, just pure bow. A woman can change the world with a single well-placed arrow. Okay. There are Pathfinder. Okay, so that's a poisoner. Kind of like a poison, that's like a true rogue bid build. There are venoms and virtues aplenty in the wilds if you know where to look. Oh,
Skills
let's see
that
next
you
one.
can pick up period.
Okay, here's the witch. Throw off the chains of fear and embrace that which was forbidden. That's the occultist. So I'm assuming that's like that's not the summoner, necromancer summoner. I don't know. Elementalist. Eat a storm with savage intent. Even the strongest walls would hold it back. That's pretty cool. Embrace the serene power that is undeath. Ah, necromancer. Next.
Periodically as you level, and
Oh, here we go. Truth is elusive, yet God has provided us with all the tools necessary to find it. That's Inquisitor. That's Hammer Boy. That'd be a cool class if it wasn't like Hierophant. Drink deeply from the God's chalice, for the faithful will never find it. What is that, like a staff of some sort? Fire staff? Holy staff? Holy staff? Yeah, it's gotta be holy. This is all holy damage. Guardian, when bound by faith and respect, luck will overwhelm the
and they really can change. Grant powerful passive skills that you can pick up periodically as you level, and they really can change.
Ah, that one's too fast. I can't see. The words are all mushy. Let's see the barbarian one. Please, Javen.
He can change what your character can do.
Yeah, you can't see the barbarian ones. They look like third. All right, here we go. Slayer, no judge, no jury, just the executioner. See, that sounds cool as shit. Raise your hand to the roaring cloud and pledge your allegiance to glory. Gladiator sounds okay. Champion, that sounds cool. Champion that which you love. He who fights for nothing dies for nothing.
And how it plays.
Wow.
First, let's talk level, and they really can change what your character can do and how it plays.
Okay.
First, let's talk about the Marauder, and its first ascendancy is the Juggernaut, offering possibly the best tank in the whole game, and with the right skills.
What divides the
ton of
conqueror
damage.
from the conquered?
Second up,
Perseverance.
the Chieftain, a master of fire or totems, or even fire totems. And lastly, the Berserker, a powerful ascendancy that specialises in rage for faster and
looks
more
cool.
damaging attacks. Also higher movement speed.
Hell yeah.
He also has the option to take 10% increased damage to gain a whopping 40% more damage. This can lead to a maniac axe-wielding
Fuck
glass
yeah.
cannon if built wrong. The
built
Templar
wrong,
can
what?
ascend into the Hierophant, specialising in totems or brands with some interesting mana tanking and some always-on defensive and offensive charges.
Okay.
Next up, the Inquisitor. This is a good all-rounder with good elemental offences and defences.
Meh.
As well, it's the only ascendancy in the game to get 30% more attack damage if you use a mixture of spells and attacks, although this can be really finicky to pull off. Next up, the Guardian, who is decent with minions and has good defences, including against curses.
But they redid this
Onto
class
the Witch now,
entirely.
and the first ascendancy is
It's
the
good now, they
Cultist.
said.
This has cold and chaos damage buffs and an extra curse to boot. She also has some great buffs to energy shield recharge.
Ooh.
If this doesn't float your boat, then you can go with Elementalist for golem base builds or all-out
golem
elemental
build?
destruction. On top of this, she can select a powerful defensive shield against elemental damage.
Okay.
It also prevents monsters reflecting elemental damage onto her.
Ooh.
And last but by no means least, the Necromancer. This is
Ooh.
great for powerful minion builds or anything that deals damage with corpses. Yeah, that's a thing. Over to the Shadow now, and we have the Assassin, an expert dealing critical strikes and
That looks
applying
cool.
poison. Next up, the Trickster.
strikes and poison.
This offers some amazing defences built around energy shield and was my favourite ascendancy from last league. And next, a wonderful ascendancy built around traps and mines, the Saboteur. A master of damage with both traps and
Damn.
mines, but also some amazing shock and ignite immunity along with some great quality of life. Down the tree now
That's
to the
crazy.
Ranger, and the first ascendancy is Deadeye with powerful movement speed buffs and some nice modifiers to projectile skills.
Okay.
Next, the Pathfinder. She is a master of poisons and gets amazing buffs for using flasks.
Damn.
Then, the Raider, who can get strong movement and attack speed buffs as well as the
Ranger.
ability to run through enemies, whilst doing so making them weak to elemental damage while trying to avoid incoming elemental ailments.
True.
We
Rapier.
now have my favourite character class of all, the Duelist. First up, the Gladiator, with
See, that sounds
amazing
insane,
buffs
bro.
to bleeds, including making your enemies explode. Also, some strong block buffs. The champion is a really defensive option
Let's
and
go.
is also a master of Impale.
That sounds fucking
And then
pog.
there was one, the Slayer.
Yes.
This one is a master of leech,
Let's
able to
go.
gain a huge amount of defenses by dealing damage to his enemies.
That's what I'm talking
So
about.
which one should you go with?
The
I think
duelist.
the Witch
Just
is
fuck
probably going to be the best for
people's
complete
heads.
beginners. Although,
What?
as I mentioned in my previous video, if you're new to the game, follow someone's build guide. This has the bonus of telling you exactly which class to go and which ascendancy points to pick first.
Duelist was
I
my
do this
first
from time
class.
to time too to learn new game
Layer.
mechanics that I'm not familiar with. This game has so many layers of mechanics, it's impossible to know all of them. For getting this deep into the video, the bonus tip: remap the left mouse button at the start of the game from attack to move only. It may just keep you alive. And to watch the next video in this series, check out the video top left,
Attack to
which will
move
teach you
only.
all about skill gems, supports, and links. All of which will open up the huge
Oh yeah,
amount
because
of
here
diversity this game
here
has to
you
offer.
don't use a
Click
builder.
now.
You don't use a
And with that,
builder.
thanks for watching.
In POE, you don't use a builder spender method, right? It's not like Diablo, so you don't need to have a core skill, right? Not a core, a basic skill to your left mouse button. You can just rely on cores and other skills. So you can have your main skill on your on your right button, and then the rest of the stuff on your keyboard. Or a controller. A lot of people weirdly play with controller too.
And
That
I'll
was
catch you
good.
next time.
That was a good video. That was actually pretty good. So that actually helped me understand what each class does. That actually helped me understand the fucking Paragon board a bit. That 6-minute video. Well, this wasn't the 6-minute video. This was just the class 6-minute video. That actually helped. We'll give this a like. That actually helped because now we know, because every side of the Paragon board has a specialty, you know. So whether it be, you know, red, green, or blue, and then all the hybrids in between. That's why they start where they start. Makes sense. Makes more sense now. And each build, what you're trying to build off of, depending which stat you're trying to use off. That's why you want to pick a certain class with a certain ascendancy to start and get started on that path. Okay, that's a good basic. That's a good intro. What am I gonna play? I have no. That was good though. That was a good video. What time is it? 11. Maybe we'll watch. Should we watch Woody Joe's video? Alright, we'll be right back. I gotta get more tea real quick, gang. Please pardon me. Look up some crazy endgame. Okay. Think about what should look up. I have no idea what to honestly look up. Like endgame builds, endgame gameplay. I'm not sure. But we'll be right back, gang. Hi, my boogie. What the fuck?
Greetings.
Jeez Louise. What is even happening on this screen? Anybody know? I'm partially blind. Alright.
Greetings builders, Daniel here and welcome back to another video. As you know, July is already upon us and this is the last month of the Crucible League.
What
In this
is
video
that?
we're going to check the most popular builds on POE at this very moment. And if you haven't tried any of those during this league, this is your chance. You can find all links for POB and complete guides in the video description. Let's start with this skill. This is the third most used between high level players right now. The Tornado.
So he's saying, oh, I thought he had really good music. That was my music. Alright. Start viability? No. COC Tornado.
shot. And to illustrate it, I've chosen the cast on critical tornado shot that eye with the Ranger class.
You only picked 3 builds?
This build combines all the power of
Holy
a cast on critical
shit!
build with the safety of a ranged attack. It has an amazing clear speed and can deal big damage to bosses. To list the pros of this build, I would start with this amazing clear speed that you're seeing.
Okay.
Look how satisfying it is to cast so many ice spears from our
Yeah,
tornado shot
I see.
projectiles. I'm
Very
sure that you
satisfying
love
indeed.
clearing maps with this beauty.
Holy
This character
shit.
is awesome with bosses as well. It deals a lot of single target damage even from a great distance. Now, to list the cons, I'll start saying that this build isn't for everyone.
expensive.
You need a lot of currency to put it together. Another issue is that it isn't easy to build because it needs many specific rare items.
Oh, that sucks.
As for budget, this build will need at least 12 divine orbs to put it together. As I said, it's an expensive one. Don't forget
His latest build is better, has 15 builds. Damn. So this build costs 12 divine orbs. Is that a lot? It sounds like a lot.
to put it together. As I said, it's an expensive one. Don't forget that on POEbuilds.net you can find a list with all the equipments that you need to buy for this build, with direct links for examples being extra sockets to debuff bosses for a lot more damage. Finally, we also need 2 intuitive leap unique jewels to save many points in our passive tree.
Look at it
For
though.
clear speed, this one is surely a 10 out of 10. Clearing with this build is not only fast but also extremely satisfying.
It is. It looks
Boss
awesome.
damage also deserves 10 out of 10. You end up casting so many ice spears and all of them can hit the target, causing an
Look at
incredible
that!
shotgun effect. For the survivability, I'll give it 9 out of 10. This build can do everything from a safe distance, it freezes enemies, it has a huge amount of evasion, armor and spell suppression. It will be hard to die if you always
That's a lot
stand your
for
position
beginners.
on Guardians
Fuck.
and Pinnacle bosses. Next, we have the second most played skill.
So fucking Righteous Fire is still top dog. It's still up there, top 3, second most played skill. Holy shit.
Smoking Hot Righteous Fire Juggernaut with the Marauder class. Here you can use all the tankness and life regeneration from the Juggernaut to easily sustain the Righteous Fire damage and just walk your way through the endgame. To list the pros of this build, I'll have to start with how comfortable and smooth this gameplay is. As soon as you get this build sustaining Righteous Fire, you start clearing maps without even noticing. This character is also super tanky and it will be hard to die even if you try to. Now, to list the cons, I'll start saying that the boss damage isn't great. But
Yes.
don't worry,
You
can
can't
map
do
bosses easily,
that
even
good
on low
for,
budget. But Guardians
single
and Pinnacle
target
bosses
damage.
will take longer than usual if you don't invest a few divine orbs. Another issue is that the leveling is a little bit complicated since we use a spell as a marauder, but if you follow closely the steps on the leveling section from the complete guides, you won't have a problem. As for budget, you can get it destroying early endgame maps with only around 105 chaos, but if you follow the crafting tips on the complete guide, this can get a lot cheaper. To comfortably advance to yellow maps, you need to invest around 150 chaos, and for easily completing your atlas, I recommend investing around 4 divines, mostly on your survivability. You need 2 mandatory unique items for this build. The first are the Legacy of Fury boots. They scorch nearby enemies and cause them to explode for an amazing clear speed. Those
Yeah.
boots might be a little bit expensive during the first days of a new league, but don't worry, you'll be fine playing without them until
Yeah,
the
because a
price
lot of
drops.
people run Righteous Fire.
The other mandatory unique is the Immortal Flash belt. This one grants a huge amount of life regeneration and even a great armor buff.
Holy shit.
For clear speed, I'll give this build 10 out of 10. As mentioned before, as soon as this build is complete, you just walk and watch every enemy burn only because of your presence. This means not stopping for casting and saving a lot of time while farming. The boss damage on the other hand is not that great. I would give it just 7 out of 10 because it will need investment to do a decent DPS on Pinnacle bosses and Guardians. But don't worry, this build still kills map bosses easily on a low budget. For the survivability, this build surely has 10 out of 10. As you can see on the POB, this build gets over 100,000 armor,
That's
2,000 life
crazy.
regeneration per second, over 87% of all elemental resistance, and even over 50% chance to block spell damage. Look at the effective HP, it goes beyond 200,000. Even if you try to die, it wouldn't be easy. Finally, it's time for the most used skill, the one that is being played by over 9% of high level players, The amazing Lightning Arrow Deadeye, also with the Ranger class. With all those returning projectile shenanigans that Crucible brought, we now live in the time of archers.
Holy
With very little
shit.
investment that pretty much doubled most of attack projectile damage. Now Lightning Arrow got even more with its Val version that is awesome to kill bosses. To list the pros of this build, I'm not sure if I would start with its clear speed or boss damage, because both are out of this world. This build is also not complicated to put together, it's definitely the perfect mid-league build to be playing right now.
Nice.
Now to list the cons, I will start with its cost. Because of Lionel's Fall, this build is quite expensive right now.
Oh, it's got a
And I'm
mandatory
sure in a few more
jewel.
weeks the prices will drop.
Yeah.
About the
Wait, in a
budget,
few more
as
weeks?
I just mentioned, is an
Oh, the
expensive
video was made
build
a while
right now.
ago.
You need around 5 Divine Orbs to put it together.
Hey, that's half of the other build
You only
though.
need 2 mandatory unique items for this build. The first is of course the Lionel's Fall Jewel that grants many useful nodes in our passive tree. Next, we also need a Yoke of Suffering Amulet that causes all of our elemental damage to shock. This way our enemies take a lot more damage. For clear speed,
This
I'll
is
give
what
it
I want to
10
do,
out
but
of
I doubt
10.
I'll get
You
there.
fire many projectiles with high attack speed, and those projectiles return to you, pierce enemies and bounce off walls. You even have your Mirage Archer to fire more projectiles. No one can survive that.
That's cool.
The boss damage is also amazing and deserves 10 out of 10. Using 2 Val Lightning Arrows plus your ballistas on bosses will kill them so fast that you won't believe it. For the
Damn.
survivability, I'll give this build 9 out of 10. You have armor evasion and spell suppression that grants almost 50,000 effective HP, but the main reason why this build is safe is because you can kill everything from a huge distance. You just need to mind your position. And that's it, guys! Will you try any of those meta builds before the next league? Please don't forget to tell me in the comments and leave a thumbs up to support the channel.
I doubt it. Oh fuck, you made a part 2?
Greetings builders and welcome. Greetings builders! GGG announced
That's crazy. No, we suck.
that the next league must be released on August 18th, and that gives us roughly 1 month left of Crucible. This is why I think it's time for me to start my traditional top 12 video where I show you my favorite builds during the Crucible League. This video is going to have 4 parts that will be released every weekend from now on. And of
4
course,
parts?
if you decide to make any of those builds, you can find links for the POE and complete guide together with the remaining parts of this top 12 in the video description.
Okay.
In 12th
Top
place,
12
we
builds.
have a starter build that was very popular during the Crucible League, the
Yep.
Toxic Rain Raider with the Ranger class.
Yeah, that's a leveling class.
This build uses all the attack speed of Raider to deploy numerous spots that
Holy
drain the
shit.
life out of your enemies. To list the pros of this build, I would start with how easy this build is to put together. You don't need any mandatory unique item and the leveling is very simple. This build is great for beginners because you end up having great clear speed, boss damage and survivability with low investment. Now
That's
to list the
crazy.
cons, the main issue of this build is mana. Since we're dealing with a damage over time build, we cannot reach mana or life. Because of that issue, we need rare rings that reduce the mana cost of skills. As for budget, you can get it destroying early in-game maps with only around 100 chaos. To comfortably advance to yellow maps, you need to invest around 150 chaos, and for easily completing your Atlas, I recommend investing around 4 divines, but you can totally do it with less.
That's cool.
Don't forget that on POEbuilds.net you can find a list with all the equipment that you need to buy for this build, with direct links for examples being sold by other players.
Pog.
Now in 11th place we have a starter build that is the best one for beginners. I'm talking
Totem.
about the Arctotem's Hierophant with the Templar class. On this build we use many totems that cast the Arc skill for a fast and safe clear speed. Listing the pros of
That's
this build, I
cool.
would start with how cheap and easy it is to complete your Atlas using this beauty. With almost no investment, you have a powerful, safe and fast character that would be the perfect currency farmer for this and future builds. Now to list the cons, this build doesn't have access to
No
evasion
evasion.
or spell suppression, but don't worry, totem builds are very safe to play. Another issue is that some players might find this gameplay to be a little tedious and too easy, but as you know, this is just a matter of taste. As for budget, this is one of the cheapest builds.
So once you get to into POE, you're gonna have one of these to farm currency.
35 chaos.
That's what that
to
means,
comfort
alright.
to yellow maps, I recommend investing around 90 chaos, and for
So it's either Righteous Fire or one of these.
But you can
Cool,
totally do it
cool.
with less. This build needs 3 mandatory unique items, but they are normally very cheap and easy to get. The first one is the Soul Mantle Armor, that causes Sakata Gems to be supported by a level 20 spell totem. This grants us an extra support skill gem.
Nice.
We also need a Kikazaru Ring to counter the effect of curses. This is because a side effect of Soul Mantle that will apply a random curse on you whenever a totem dies. Finally, we also need the Self-Flagellation Jewel that grants up to 20% increased damage for each curse on you.
Each
Thanks
curse?
to Soul Mantle, you'll be always with around 9 curses, resulting on 180% increased damage. For clear speed, this build gets 9 out of 10. Arc is an awesome skill that chains through many enemies and easily clear big packs. This build counts with 4 totems casting this amazing skill. The boss damage deserves 9 out of 10.
Madness.
With the right debuffs and all 4 totems summoned, this build can take even big bosses down without any issue. For the survivability, I would also give it 9 out of 10. As a totem build, you always be far from action while your totems do all the work. So, if you know how to mind your position, you can easily complete high tier maps with low grade gear. Above all, this build still counts with high armor and high block chance. On 10th place, we have a very fun and unusual build.
Ooh, what is
the
this?
Tornado Shot Berserker with the Marauder
Tornadoes.
class.
Been to win.
As you guys know, archers
No,
have
wait,
a
what?
high note of crucible. For that reason, items like Lionized Fall have
This is
spiked
not
in
what I
price
thought
and
it
many
was.
players are having a hard time to feel powerful as an archer without spending a lot of divine orbs. But this build here is different. It doesn't require any mandatory unique item. To list the pros of this build, I would start with its damage. This tornado shot is a real boss destroyer.
What the
clear
fuck?
speed is awesome as well. You are very fast and shoot many projectiles with high attack speed rates. It's amazing to clear packs and packs of monsters this
Dude,
build.
what is
Above
this?
all, as I just mentioned, this build is also not expensive and very easy to put together. Now, to list the cons, the first thing that comes to mind is the life degeneration and the extra damage taken from the Berserker Ascendancy. But don't
Ooh.
worry, we have many defensive layers and instant life leech. As for budget, even though this build isn't expensive, it is not cheap either. You are going to need at least 2 divine orbs to put it together. For clear speed, I'll give it 10 out of 10. You fire many projectiles with high attack speed, and those projectiles turn into many other projectiles that chain on enemies. You won't believe how many of them you can kill with just a single click of your mouse. The boss damage is also amazing and deserves
Okay.
10 out of 10. Using all of your
Wow.
ballistas and activating Berserker bosses will grant you an incredible explosion of power that will make them look like regular enemies. For the survivability, I'll give it 8 out of 10. You have armor, evasion, and spell suppression
Okay,
that
I
grants
see it.
this build almost 70,000 effective HP.
That's so
However,
much
I
stuff.
put 2 points out because of the life degeneration and the extra damage taken from the Berserker Ascendancy. And that's it for today, guys. Stay tuned for part 2 next Saturday. And please don't forget to tell me your own favorite Crucible builds in the comments and leave a thumbs up to support the channel. I wish you guys an amazing day and don't forget to keep building. Greetings builders and welcome back to the part 2 of our top 12 Crucible builds. If you missed part 1, don't worry, you can find its link together with the POE and complete guide for all those
Holy
builds in the
shit.
video description. In 9th place we have the super cool Nightblade Flicker Strike Raider with the Ranger
Nightblade.
class. This is the kind of build where you can have it all.
Holy shit!
Easily achieves over 10 million DPS, it's super tanky, and
What
as
the
you can
fuck?
see on the gameplay, ultra fast.
What is
To list
this?
the pros of this build, I'll have to pretty much repeat what I just said. This is one of the most well balanced builds I've ever played. It has super speed, damage and survivability. It also has a satisfying gameplay with explosions, and let's face it, Flicker Strike is just super cool.
What is this? That looks
Now to list the
amazing.
cons, I'd start saying that this build isn't cheap.
It's
You need
expensive.
to
Why do I
really
like the
unique
expensive
rare
things?
items that will exceed the price of one divine orb. Another issue is that you have little control over your character. This might be a problem on bosses like Queen Atziri and the Shaper, where you need to know which clone to attack and mind your position.
That looks
Getting
so
to the budget,
fun.
this build is expensive and not a starter.
Love the
You need
currency
at least
aspect of the
65
game.
orbs
Gives
to
you a
get it off.
reason to rush the late start.
Don't forget that on POEbuilds.net you can find a list with all the equipment that you need to buy for this build,
It
with
does.
direct links for examples being
That
sold by
looks
other
crazy
players.
fun. It looks
You
really
need
fun.
3
He's just
mandatory unique
zigzagging.
items for this build. The first is the Fahus Fur body armor, which guarantees that you always have your full frenzy charges up. Next, we also need a Yoke of Suffering amulet that causes all of our elemental damage to be able to shock enemies, causing them to take even more damage from
That
every
looks
surge.
cool as hell.
Finally, we need the Perseverance belt that turns tankness into damage. It does that, granting 1% increased damage
Screen
for
shake
every 200
simulator,
that rolls
yeah.
between armor and evasion.
Holy
Good
shit.
thing that this build counts with over 30,000 of each. For clear speed, this build is surely a 10 out of 10, and I didn't even need to tell you that. Check out this gameplay. This is some serious anime swordsman stuff. The boss damage is also great, especially when you can use your Berserker skill. As you can see, it kills guardians in less than 2 seconds, but I will only give it 9 out of 10 because this damage is reduced on pinnacle bosses when it's harder to stack our rage. For the survivability, I will also give it 9 out of 10. This build has almost 200,000 effective HP because of high armor, high evasion, 100% spell suppression, over 30% chance to block, and high chance to avoid elemental ailments. I just took 1 point out because it has low life regeneration, making it vulnerable to poison. Now in place number 8
That's
we
actually
have
fun.
the classic and loved
What
by
was
many.
that? What was that? That looked fucking good. What class was that? That looked good. What was that? That looked fucking solid, man. He hasn't. Yeah, the chapters haven't been put in yet.
2 seconds, but I will only give it 9 out of 10.
What was this thing?
You need 3 mandatory unique items for this build. The first, don't forget that on POE to know which count saying that this build isn't and survivability.
What is
Easily achieves over 10 million DPS. In 9
So this is Night Flicker Strike. Wow, that sounds pretty good. Night Flicker Strike with ice. That's fucking intense. Alright. Damn. This looks cool. We're back on Righteous
we
Fire.
have the classic and loved by many Righteous Fire Juggernaut with the Marauder class. Here you can use all the tankness and life regeneration from the Juggernaut to easily sustain the Righteous Fire damage. In
Yep.
Righteous Fire, you start clearing maps without even
Yep.
super.
We already
Now
seen
to list
that.
the cons, I'll start saying that the boss you kill map if you don't invest Marauder.
True.
But if you follow closely the steps on the leveling section from the complete guides, you won't have a problem. As for as soon as this build is complete, you just walk and watch every enemy burn only because of your presence. This means
Alright, here we go.
place we have this incredibly fun
Tornado
and
shot.
powerful build, the Cast on Critical Tornado Shot Deadeye with the Ranger class. This build combines all the power of a Cast on Critical build with the safety
Oh,
of a
this
ranged
is the-
attack. It has an
is
amazing
that other
clear
build that
speed
he-
and can deal big damage
This
to
shit just
bosses.
looks cool as fuck. I love this one.
To list the pros of this build, I would start with this amazing clear speed that you're seeing. Look how satisfying it is to cast so many ice spears from our tornado shot.
Oh, so it's only
projectiles.
3 builds
I'm
per
sure
guy.
that you will love clearing maps with this build. This character is awesome with bosses as well. It deals a lot of single target damage even from a great distance. Now, to list the cons, I will start saying that this build isn't for everyone. You need a lot of currency to put it together. Another issue is that it isn't easy to build because
That's crazy.
Hi everyone and welcome.
Hey, Woody. Oh man, bro, that's a whole other thing. Why does this look like Diablo? Except you have a HP bar. Alright.
To my updated POE beginner's guide. I want to give you everything you need to just jump into the game and get started if you do it for the first time, if you don't know anything. A lot of people say that, you know, it's quite intimidating with the passive tree and how the skill system works.
It is.
It is very special in this game compared to most other
Oopie.
IRPGs. But in the end, if you understand the core concepts, it's not
Bro,
really such a big
he has the
deal.
overlay
There's
map
a lot of
on and
things
it's
to
like a
learn,
tiny
but
little
you
map.
shouldn't really worry about making a build that doesn't work really well in the end game or something. In the end, it's just about playing through the campaign first. The campaign has 10 acts, it's quite long, and I want to give you what is needed to get through it smoothly.
Okay.
So let's start with the skills. The skills in this game work in the way that they are itemized. So you have these so-called skill gems, and basically these are items you can get from quests, you can buy them from vendors, and any class in the game can use any skill. So you don't get all of them for every class at the beginning, but eventually you unlock them all throughout the campaign, and you can do anything you like. You can have a ranger that casts spells, you can have a berserker that casts spells, you can have a witch that attacks in melee, you can do anything. It doesn't necessarily turn out to be very great, but it's possible.
Yeah.
And the way that this works is you have items with sockets, and you see here I have red, green and blue. And you put these skill gems into your items, and that will unlock the skill. You can see my skill bar here on the bottom right.
Oh, okay.
And if I put in this fireball here into the blue, I have a new skill now. And essentially you can just swap out the skills like this with another skill. For example, here is a firestorm. So I can put that in, and you see my right click again will change to another skill here.
Does he have to pay anything to do that?
And the firestorm
Is
will
that
look
free?
like this. And now you can see that there's more of these sockets here, and essentially you can socket a certain amount of skill gems, and there's also support gems.
Free?
So what support gems do is they alter or buff the skill that you use. So one example I can do with the fireball here is we have the singular fireball, it deals a bit of damage and has,
here's the
some
triple
burn effect
fireball
if you crit and these kind of things.
Because he can put the
And now
green
we
one,
have
the
something like
green one's a
volley
support.
and we can put that in
That green slot.
and that will link to this fireball here.
Yep.
You can see at the very top it has this support tag and the projectile tag in the second line. And you can also see here on the fireball it has this projectile tag. And this means that they will work together. You can also see that these sockets here are linked on the item.
So that would also work with arrows or any projectile technically.
There's like a little line between them. And also when you mouse over them, they will highlight with this white outline. You see here on this item, for example, I have two singular red gems and they're not linked.
Yes.
And also this green one is not linked to anything.
True.
But these are connected, and now the fireball will cast 3
That's what I was talking
because
about.
this is what the support gem does. It says it fires 2 additional projectiles, but they deal less damage. And this is like one of these little examples. And
Wait,
there's
can you choose? Does it go wide or straight?
I think it's closer to 100 at this point that you can do a lot of combos with. You can even do some other stuff like take a trap support, and now instead of shooting a fireball, we throw the trap, and that trap will explode, or just time out and then fire the fireball into a random direction, or when you throw it at the enemy, you can do the fireball.
Trap builds,
There's tons of different skills. There's many melee skills, there's bow skills, there are totems, there are traps, there are minions, there's all kinds of things you can do.
My brain hurts.
Then you have the passive tree.
Oh
and
boy.
Here you basically just try to find the passives that optimize your setup that you want to do. Most of the time you want to focus on 1 or 2 skills, and one is usually used for AoE clearing and one is used for more single target. And this is how most builds work if you're not playing some kind of minion build or so. Of course there's many ways to play this, but the typical like spellcaster or attack builds do it that way. Aside from your main skills, you usually combine this with maybe some defense or some auras and also some mobility skill. For example, here my mobility skill is called Flame Dash. It looks like this, so you can teleport around like this with a few charges, and then it has to recharge.
Okay.
So you typically always have
That's
like one
fine.
mobility skill.
We understand.
You have like 1 or 2 auras, or so-called heralds. And also there are flasks in this game. So you have like life flasks.
Flasks I don't
try to
understand.
find like 1 or 2 and keep them ready for you. So whenever you take damage, you just pop them. And there's also like utility flasks, especially the Quicksilver. There's like one quest right at the start here in Act 1. So it's here in the Tidal Island. That's like the second zone. You get a Quicksilver flask that gives you a 40% increased movement speed when you use it. So this is pretty neat. You can see the effect here. I walk really fast. And you can also find other utility flasks that are quite useful. And they usually last a few seconds. And when you kill enemies, they will refill. The important thing is that you scale the same stats for your 2 different skills. So when you look at the passive tree, you have a lot of nodes that give you certain like passive bonuses. You don't get active skills here. And
but since he's the hybrid, he's in between magic and strength. Yep.
And from there, you can either go this path or you can go this.
Yep, the magic or strength path.
Basically path along.
We're learning.
You see, you have like different.
My ears are steaming, but we're going
and
for
here
it.
I scale elemental damage because
That's too much.
We're
already learning.
And then we go towards some life, and we try to get more essentially elemental damage.
I'm absorbing.
Damage. And,
there it is. I'm ramping. I'm comprehending.
I'm also a spellcaster, so I can go for something like
intellect,
spell crit, spell damage.
Yep.
and
there's the
fire
blue
damage.
zones.
And essentially you just want to scale the same stats for your 2 different skills.
Yep.
So it doesn't really matter if you play the same thing, if you play like a lightning caster, or if you play a bow build, or if you play a melee build. Essentially just try to find synergies that have like the same stats. And along those, here you have like these so-called travel nodes. So typically these stats don't really do that much besides giving you the required attributes that you need to wear certain items or to level your gems. And typically you go for these so-called clusters here. So you see here we travel along this path, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have like these bigger nodes. These are called notables, and they typically have a bigger effect. And you want to go for these that kind of like give you a special effect in some way, or is it simply stronger than the small ones? You see, like the bigger ones always have a bit more juice. The good part is you don't need to look at everything at once. You can just find whatever you're looking for. For example, you can type fire and it will highlight anything that has the word fire in it. And you can see here that there's some stuff lighting up. So this is something that I could be going for. In fact, I'm actually pathing towards this right now.
Oh,
so here's more fire damage I can take on a tree. And this is where I ended up right now with my character after
that's
reaching
cool.
level 58 so far. And you can also find life, for example. Life is very important. So a lot of stuff really hurts. You die very easily, especially when you don't know what's going on. There will be a lot of deaths in your playthrough, and this is just how the way that things go.
He's just like, it is what it is.
Go for life nodes on your tree and try to stack life on your items a little bit, and then this will make things a lot easier. So it doesn't matter what kind of build you're playing. If you start out as a ranger, for example, and you play a bow build, then you also see here, you have bow nodes everywhere, you have like projectile damage. So all these things kind of work together. You have lots of attack speed here, and then there's like bow stuff, and then there's bow crit. And in between you have like some other stats. So you always have to like look around a little bit. True. As I said, just try to find the synergies and try to scale through the same mechanic with your build. And to that end, find the synergies and try to scale through the same.
Don't play bow or melee if you're starting out. Bro! Those are the classes I want to play. I want to either do a ranger or fucking like a fucking swordsman.
Mechanic with your build. And to that end, because I was scaling a lot of elemental damage and fire damage, I should be focusing on the fire spells, but in the end it doesn't really matter too much which fire spell I use. You don't have to worry too much.
Nah, that was before they updated it and they fixed spell leveling.
Throughout the campaign you get some respec points.
Yeah, this video was like a couple years ago.
Refund passives, and you can remove them one by one again here, apply the refund, and you get a point back. So like this you can basically unskill your tree a little bit and maybe adjust a little bit. Especially towards endgame, you usually change some stuff around, but this is not really too relevant for the campaign. Typically, when you start out the game, I would recommend playing a spellcaster, so you can play, for example, a
Strength-based, more melee and fire. Dexterity-based, more range and cold. Intelligence-based, more spells and lightning. Templar, strength-based, we knew that. That's the hybrid weirdo. Shadow, that's the rogue/magic weirdo. And then Strength Marauder, that's a champ. Scion, we don't know shit about. Ranger, that's the bottom right champ. Duelist, that's the top right champ. Witch is the top, or the center and top champ. It's actually the exact opposite now. Bows are the best for leveling. Yeah, I was about to say, it wasn't like Toxic Rain like the best for like...
Templar or a Shadow or a Witch, because these are like the spell casting classes generally, and then it makes it much easier to progress because you're not really focusing on item drops too much. If you're playing a melee or a bow build, then typically you acquire a really good weapon, and you have to constantly replace that weapon and some of your other gear with better damage rolls, etc. Because spells scale on their own. They have like a fixed damage value. That's like kind of like the base damage.
That's cheating.
You can see here, deals 10 to 16 damage. It's like a level 2 fireball. And then like this skill levels up as you level. And but attacks don't really do that. They typically do like a percentage of your weapon damage and then scale very, very slowly. So this is why typically leveling is extremely easy with spellcasters, and then much harder, and definitely recommended for more experienced players. But you can do it. It's not like, you know, at the end of the world if you play a bow character, but it's typically considered more difficult. So one specialty about this passive tree is that every class has the same tree, and they all just start at a different point. So you see here right now, I'm
True, that is actually
I'll start here in the top left.
that is actually one thing that is actually cool. A lot of people don't comprehend that. Like in Diablo, every class has a different tree. So I know they like to say that it's a super simple tree, but it's just like, fucking Diablo has like fucking. This is the whole tree of a fucking class. This small little section right here. This is an entire class. This right here. It literally is. This is like core. Oh no, this is basic. This is core. This is first specialty, second specialty, third specialty, or ultimate, and then final specialty. That's what that is. Like, that's pretty much. And having like 5 of these stuck together. That would be, fucking the difficulty of the album. So that is actually pretty good because you're not expecting something different with every build. But it is a lot to take in.
Left. And then we have the witch who starts here. And we have the shadow who starts here.
True.
And they all go along the same path essentially. They just have like basically a different starting point.
I do like how that 6-minute video guy explained it.
For example, the witch has a lot of like spell
how the fucking
stuff,
charts are split
a lot
up.
of elemental stuff, a lot of minion stuff.
Good see.
Then you have the temple area, where it's like, basically a
hybrid
combination of a lot of spell casting with a bit of melee. And then you have the marauder here, which is like
pure
very,
strength,
like melee heavy with weapon specializations, lots of life. And here's like the ranger area, for example, with a lot of bow stuff. So there is a good lot of like a concept to this tree, but you can still find different things in different places. And all of these classes have a subclass called Ascendancy. For example, here I am an Inquisitor, so I'm a Templar, and that has ascended to Inquisitor. That's also called Hierophant, and there's also a Guardian. So one is kind of like the support type of character. Here I'm like a elemental, very crit heavy build that I can do. And again, you would just try to find the synergies that would work for your build. Now, when it comes to loot, there are some things you need to know. Life is very important, and resists are very important, especially for spellcasters where your damage doesn't really depend too much on your weapon. You don't really care too much about the damage stats. You just want to stack life, you want to stack maybe some mana or mana regen, you want to stack the resists. Especially resists are very important later in the campaign. So after Act 6 especially, you want to be capped. The cap is 75% resist. So always try to stack that a little bit, because else you're gonna get completely shredded. Resists here effectively reduce the incoming damage by exactly this amount. So in my case, I get 75% reduced cold damage and lightning and fire damage. And this is what the game is balanced around.
Okay.
So you need to cap your resist at all costs later throughout the game.
Ignore chaos
and
resist.
Essentially just try to find whatever works for you.
I don't know what that
Especially
is.
important are the sockets though. So as a spellcaster here, I need a lot of blue sockets, because blue is intelligence. Intelligence is like the spell stuff. And when you level, you want to mostly look at the items that have the right colors and the right links, at least for like 2 or 3 of your slots. So you can actually make those combos with those links, because each of the skill links and the support links actually adds a lot of extra damage to your character or to your spell. And then you have like some other slots that give you simply more stats, and with those you can try to get your life and your resist, but mostly focus on maybe 2 or 3 items that have a lot of links and the right colors.
Okay.
So when you fight your way through the enemies, you'll see different loot drop, and for me this actually looks a bit different now than it usually does. You see that like certain things pop up here on the screen now, and when I press Alt, I can actually see even more loot. And this is the concept of loot filters in this game. There's a lot of stuff dropping on the ground, and a lot of it is really worthless, and you don't really want to pick up all that stuff because it's simply too much. And this is just the beginning of the game. Eventually you drop hundreds of items everywhere on the screen, and this is why you need loot filters. I can show you how this works. So like now I have this like pretty standard filter, and if I turn this off, everything will look different. So this is how the game looks normally. And so it is already like a little bit color coded. So these are like magic items, these are white items. And you can see these sockets here, they're actually displayed as little colored dots on the item itself.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can see, for example, here we found some boots that have a link. So you can actually see the little link between them.
4 link?
There's actually 4 linked boots here. So this is pretty neat. And then, for example, you have like some other random stuff that, it might be magic, or it might be even a yellow item that has more properties. But if it doesn't have the right links, then typically I would not really care too much about it. But essentially, even at the start of the game, you should get a loot filter, because it makes your experience so much easier, and it also highlights the stuff that is more important for you. So
Okay.
typically, like a lot of the mini user stuff is already like filtered out immediately.
It's a lot
You
of
don't
stuff.
need any of these like white items typically. They're not really worth anything, so it's just drop. The way to get a loot filter is on this website here. You can just
I got to do a whole thing.
Description, and essentially they have like a kind of like a standard filter that is fine. So you can basically just press download, and you can also adjust these things. You can hide certain things. You can make them look different. You can change the colors. You can do anything. But for now, just press download and then install it in your documents folder, My Games Path of Exile, and then you get the selection here in the UI menu in-game, and this will change here. The thing about loot in this game is also that you don't have any kind of gold dropping or something.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm
there are
saying.
these so-called currencies. They are essentially crafting items. So you see here, for example, the Scroll of Wisdom is
Yes.
used to identify an item. Actually, identifying it also increases the value at the vendor. And for it, you can get some alteration shards, and they don't really do anything on their own. But for example, when you combine 20, you get this orb of alteration. And this is how most of the currency works. All of it.
So you stack
does
little
something,
pieces.
so to say. So you can craft items with this. You can make them magic. You can make them rare, and you can reroll rare items. And there's dozens of currencies that all kind of work for something in the game. So
Jeez.
especially at the start of the game, you want to pick up a lot of stuff, especially like blue and yellow items and all the scrolls that you find. So they are really useful because you want to keep identifying items. You want to see what you can maybe wear, and then as you progress, you basically pick up less and less of the random blue and yellow items because you already have some decent loot here.
True.
And anything that is not another falling glove, I don't really care too much about for now. And lastly, when it comes to loot, you should also know that there's certain vendor recipes. So you can go to the vendor here and essentially just vendor the stuff that you just found. So if you give them this blue item, you get these alteration shards. They are useful to reroll a magic item.
Fill your
So
inventory
you don't
with
really worry
blues
too
when
much
you head
about
to town.
collecting loot throughout the campaign.
And
You can use
vendor
it very
them
freely to try to craft
unidentified,
some
which
items
will give
maybe.
you shards.
Here's the overview of the campaign. So there's a
Vendoring these will give you a good supply of scrolls of wisdom. Same with armor, scraps, and whetstones. I have no idea what that means, but remember this. Your neck wouldn't fill your inventory with blue items. Blue items are magic items. There's normal items, magic items, rare items. Is there anything above rare? Ancient and ancestral? Shit kind of like that? Or is it just rare and uniques? There's another uniques here. I don't know. Okay.
very freely to try to craft some items maybe. Here's the overview of the campaign. So there's a UI menu. These are the different zones. When you play through a campaign, what is important is there are main quests, which are highlighted in like yellow color, and there's optional quests. A lot of these you don't have to do, but some of them you have to do because you get skill points for them. You can find a full list of what those are here. I'll also have the link for this, and in total I think you get up to 22 of them.
Damn.
And essentially you can skip all, like there's a lot of side areas you can skip entirely. If you want to explore, okay, but keep in mind it's a very long campaign with 10 acts, and especially playing through it the first time will take quite a while. You can easily look at 10, 20 hours or so, even more in some cases. And the good thing is that the quest is always highlighted, so you can just click on this and it'll tell you where to go. There's like this little orange path from your position to wherever you need to go. These little dots here mean that there's a waypoint in a zone. One important thing is in Act 2, I just want to highlight this quest especially. It's called Deal with the Bandits, and you have to go kind of back and forth. And what I would recommend is to, from the town, go to the eastern side, clear all of this, kill the guy here on Broken Bridge, and then you go to the western side. This way will save you a lot of backtracking in Act 2, and it can be quite frustrating for new players. Otherwise, most of the other acts are like smooth sailing, one path, and everything is fine as long as you follow the main quest line. Lastly, throughout the campaign you will find these so-called trials of ascendancy. This is what is needed to gain the ascendancy, to actually enter the labyrinth. And it's basically a little zone with some traps, and you have to walk through it. And at the end, once you pass through, you have to click like a little altar, and that will unlock that trial. And this is what's needed to go to the labyrinth and get your trial of ascendancy. This is quite important. So when you find these, you have like a little, sort of like a green quest in that area, and you know that in this area you will have to do one of these. Just make sure that you do these trials, And then after Act 3, you can do your first labyrinth. After Act 7, you can do the second one. And after the full campaign, you can do the third one.
Okay.
And that's about it for this guide. So I hope that this helps you. And if you want to jump into the game, now is a really good time for it. And and try to keep it as short as possible. But there is some things that you need to have explained in the game.
There's a
and
lot.
I hope that I could cover it all with at least the bare basics. And then you can start building your knowledge base from there. What I can recommend is try out the wiki here. So this is a POE wiki. You can search for any skill, unique, legendary, whatever, any quest, any monster. There's a lot of stuff to learn, and there's a lot of information out there that will help you.
Holy shit.
And also there's the in-game tutorial that pops up when you start this game. You can check that out too, because it's actually quite helpful. So take a minute here and there to check out, whatever pops up on the help pages there, and that can also help you get a great deal. So that's it. I hope you liked this video. I'll see you guys next time.
Bye, Woody Joe. Thanks for the vid, man, but that's crazy. That's a lot, gang. My brain hurts. Yeah. My noodles, right? That's a lot of shit. Holy shit. And I somehow believe that's not even like the tip of the iceberg. I think we're still gonna have to end up learning a lot more. But boy, that was a lot. That was a lot. My noodle hurts. That's a lot of stuff. Holy shit. That was crazy. We'll do this real quick. Quick vid.
Hi, Zizrin here with another video, and this is
Hey.
10 things I wish I knew before playing Path of Exile.
Alright. 10 things.
Number 1, capping your resistances. A lot of games don't assume that you have a lot of resists or make the game very incredibly easy early on. Path of Exile does not do this.
Yes.
In Path of Exile, you're basically very early.
Tip number 1, never
expected
begin.
to get 75 res early on.
100%.
Chaos resist, not as important. In fact, you can clear pretty much everything in the game with minus 60. And a number 1 tip I have for capping your resist early is remember you can use your crafting bench for white gear. So you can res cap already in Act 2. Number 2, the order of the gems doesn't matter. For trigger gems, it does. It doesn't matter if your fireball is in your weapon, it can be in your chest, it can be in your shoe, and it doesn't need to be the first gem there, it can be the third, things like that. Pretty great to know. UI options like the settings and just being able to in the input you can change keybinds as well, and just honestly looking through the options, very good. But having a health bar above my head, always showing the health bar, and also making your minimap look clear really nice. I have landscape transparency to the left and map transparency to the right, and it just pops. Chests and trunks are pretty much useless. Now sometimes you'll get someone saying, and remember, open your chest.
And every few acts, it gets decreased by 30%. So wait. So you can have negative 60. What?
Now you actually should never open all your chests because it is an insane time sink, and efficiency in Path of Exile is very important. Yes, you might occasionally get an Exalted Orb, but that's the same as, you kill one monster in the corner of a map that you've been running in the map for 10 minutes trying to find the last monster, and that drops a mirror. Now you should always full clear every map. The thing is, everything like that is an infinite resource in Path of Exile. We're never going to run out of monsters to kill, and we're never going to run out of chests to open. So it's all about balancing your time efficiency. So it's a lot better to just blast through 100 monsters and clicking a chest. So because of that, the only time I open chests is in maps with really good divination cards. So burial chambers, for example, because there is a reason you can find doctors there. Other than that,
there's cards, huh?
How much time you're wasting.
That's a whole new system.
And generally, they're worse loot. That being said, just as long as you're having fun, you're not doing anything wrong. The vast majority of uniques in Path of Exile are useless. Now, if you're playing solo self-fun, it is great to hoard uniques and put them in your unique tab. But generally they are not worth a lot. So it'll be
Okay.
very exciting when you first play, dropping unique, but generally rare items are the true uniques of Path of Exile. Flasks are the
True.
number one most important thing. It is the single most important thing I see new players mess up. And they're just incredibly strong. It's actually why I had my very first death. So I started playing Path of Exile on Hardcore League, and I got to like level 50 or 60, which was pretty high back then. And I died to monsters with an aura, substantial fist, extra damage. It was a skeleton in Fellshrine Ruins in Merciless or Cruel. It used to have
That's
multiple
crazy.
difficulties. And the reason why I died was that it was bursting me down, and I had an overtime life last. So you really want to make sure that you either have bubbling, I think it's maybe changed names now, but the one that's either half instant or full instant. You're very rarely like, oh no, I'm dying. Any minute now, I'm dead. You're mostly like, thump, 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 you're dead. So having flasks respond to you instantly, huge. But more than that, very often we'll see like players running around with 2 life flasks, 2 mana flasks, and a quicksilver, and they do not understand how important utility flasks are. Quartz flask, insane survivability. You can get phasing in other ways, but quartz flask is a good, easy, reliable way to get phasing. And if you can run straight through the monster pack, any melee monster, while moving through it, cannot do anything to you. The number one thing where we see people die to melee monsters is that they get stuck in a pack and then bursted down. And Jade and Granite Flask they've been reduced in power 6 times, I think. I think they started with 10,000 armor and 10,000 evasion. They're now down to 1,500 armor and 1,500 evasion. They're still incredibly strong. It's easier than ever to also put percentage evasion or percentage armor on them. And it really makes a huge difference for mapping now. Instances reset if you're gone too long. So sometimes you'll like go in a map, go back out, maybe do some trades, and yeah, the instance can fully crash sometimes even while the portals are still open. Generally, a zone lasts between like 7 to 15 minutes. So don't stay out of your map too long. And generally, you want to like, if you really want to make a lot of money in Path of Exile, efficiency is key, and treating the hideout like it's lava. So just boom, boom, boom. And then take a longer break whenever you need it. But being efficient when you're playing can make you so much more currency. Vendor recipes, incredibly important in Path of Exile. 6 sockets sell for 7 jewelers, and just knowing things that you can buy 1 fusing for 4 jewelers from the vendor, really important. And then you have vendor recipes, like if you take a blue wand, 1 alteration, and a white, blue, or a rare topaz, sapphire, or ruby ring, that'll give you flat damage added to spells, which is huge for the early game. You literally will not believe how much damage this will add early on a character. And following a guide is incredibly important. Now, very often
I don't even know what the last part
I'll say
was.
just experiment, just play around on your own and do what you feel like. However, in Path of Exile, the regret system isn't really that good. It really honestly needs a revamp. I honestly believe that for the first 50 or even 70 levels, the respec should be free, or at least 1 free, because whenever a new player comes and be like, hey, sis, I was trying out the game on my own, having a really good time, but my build is pretty weak. How do I go from here to transition to one of your build guides? Yeah, you gotta make a new character, bro. You know, that feels kind of bad. So following a build guide from the start until you're more comfortable to experiment on your own is really strong. And last but not least, no backtracking. Backtracking is honestly the biggest thing for survivability, and very often people will send me a rip clip or something like that. Maybe they're a new player or anything, but very often a large amount of deaths is because of backtracking. So if you're able to just walk forward in a fight, make circles around the boss, you ideally never want to backtrack, because bosses don't have predictive tracking at all. That's definitely coming, because there is one boss in the game that does have predictive tracking, and that is Hailrake. Just don't backtrack. Anyway, thanks for watching. Sub if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.
So wait, so do the items auto loot or what? Since he's not backtracking, does he still have to go back and pick up the items? Don't know. No, just pick it up as you go? What? But I swear he just passed over some of those. Oh man, that's nuts. Yeah, most is trash. Jesus. Oh, this is actually important. This is actually the most important one.
I'm full.
What
Hi
stash
guys, it's Jim
tab
here,
do you
spamming
need?
your feed with another video, and today we're going to talk about stash tabs, and hopefully we'll post this just as a stash tab sale goes live, and they happen generally every 3 weeks. It's very important to know if you want to save some money. So let's talk about
Okay.
stash tabs.
Stash
So
tab
when you
sales,
start
guys.
playing
We gotta
Path of
wait for the
Exile
sale.
on a
Where's the
free
sale?
account, you have 4 stash tabs, and this is incredibly okay for your first few days.
Hey, look, it's Diablo.
If you like the game, and saying it is free to play is entirely fair, but it is more similar to a buy to play game. Or if you are going to play 300-400 hours of the game, it's going to be very rough on you with no stash tabs, and you don't have a way of earning those in game. However, thankfully Path of Exile has no way to buy power, only convenience. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've set up my stash tabs and what to buy and what is the most worth. So if we open up the transaction shop by clicking M, you can see that we have stash tabs. So as you can see, there is actually a stash.
Especially at endgame, that's why they use loot filters. True. 300 to 400 hours free isn't a bad deal. Well, no, I think stash tabs, I'm not sure if it's on sale or off sale. I think the total purchase is like $40 or something. So for $40, 300 or 400 hours? That's not a bad deal. I don't know if that's on sale or off sale. But we'll see. He's about to tell us.
Stash tab sale right now. I'm going to go through the stash tabs, how I set them up, and which ones are most worth to buy. And it's very good that it's on a sale. So you can see that you are getting, you're basically saving $3, $1 here and there, and that will add up. So the number one most important stash tab to buy is the currency stash tab. You're saving $1.50, which basically costs you $6 for this. And we'll try to keep a tally on what tabs are the most important and the total price. So boom, $6 gone. You have a currency stash tab. It looks like this.
Okay.
And very important to know that you can have the affinity system. A lot of people call it C for currency. I call it O for orbs. But either way, this is where you keep all your stash tabs, currency. And if you are looking into a different stash tab, but you have the affinity on, you can see that it'll just go back into that. So very, very good and has a lot of stuff. This is absolutely imperative for playing Path of Exile.
Okay.
The next up important stash tab that I would recommend you buy is the map stash, because maps are the cornerstone of Path of Exile. You're going to save $3 here. Boom, another $12 gone. And very, very important to have that one. It looks like this.
That's already
and each
$18,
one can
gang.
hold
That's on sale,
72?
too.
I can't remember. A lot of maps in each tab. And same thing with this. It has an affinity system.
Okay.
So very, very good. Now, the
I need
normal
the map
tabs,
one.
I think I have a normal tab here somewhere. The normal tabs do have the affinity system too. So, and you can use this while completely free to play. They are obviously better with the premium tabs. And definitely recommend you get one of these. It'll also keep track of your completion. So if we, for example, look here, actually I've completed everything, but if we hadn't, that line would not be highlighted. It is also really, really good at the start because you're able to see what a natural map is. Because eventually this will be filled with a lot of maps that aren't necessarily belonging in that tier. And we talk about a natural map is the first time it appears at that tier. So if you have a map with no void stones in, this is all the natural tiers. Like Toxic Chamber or Toxic Zero is a natural tier 6. So it helps you keep
We
track
just
of that.
learned
It's
about
very
one
good.
skill tree, bro.
Now, those are the two most useful map tabs. But the third one that I would say is super valuable is the quad stash tab. Having a tab like that to be able to sort and dump your loot in, maybe if you want to just go into a map, back out, into a map, back out, and then a lot of people end up sorting their tabs later when they are watching a movie or they're a little bit more chilled out, and it helps keep a really nice pace while mapping. You'll see a lot of streamers do this. So really, really good to have at least one of these, and they look like this. You can also have a lot of affinities on them. So if you want to keep, for example, you want to keep your Blight, your Delve stuff, or your Blight and Metamorph and Delirium stuff in one tab, instead of buying those, you can do that and it'll actually be pretty great. So a quick example of what I use my tabs for, I obviously have them as dump tabs like this, but I also use like this one. I have to keep track of all my high item level bases. Sorry, just gonna consume that there. Here I have like item level 84 to 86. Here I have influenced bases. Here I have fractured bases, and it ends up being very, very worth to be able to partition your stash like this to keep track. Now, obviously, you don't need this many when you're a new user, and it'll sort of be something you add on over time, but it is really, really good, especially for solo self-found, to have the hoarding potential. Next up, for one that is very, very important in my opinion, is the Divination card stash tab. It is incredibly cheap on a sale. It is $4, and honestly, it really, really adds up. It lets you put all your divination cards in there, and it helps you keep track really easily which ones you have, which ones that exist. Doesn't say what the ones that exist do if you don't have one, however, but also which ones are full, so you can just pull them out and hand them in to Lilyroth like this. Very, very good, very easy, and then you can just, with the affinities, put it back anywhere. So absolutely recommend, and those are the three that I would say you really, really want to buy.
Okay.
Next up, out of the ones that are still very useful, is the Essence tab, and both Divination and Essence are things that will end up taking a lot of space if you don't have these tabs, but they are also a lot cheaper than a lot of the other tabs. Essence tab is $3 on a sale, and while you can
Holy
upgrade
shit.
just by selling things to the vendor, it is even easier to upgrade things here.
A lot of these are
that
more
being said,
helpful
it is
than
still
needed.
useful to keep some of the lower level ones for if you have new characters and you want some extra powerful leveling gear, but it is very, very easy to just upgrade something by clicking it. Also helps you keep track of an item you can craft, so you can put an item in there and then work on crafting it. And it also helps you keep track of the special essences that upgrade to the Insanity, Horror, Delirium, and his.
When they said stash tabs, I just meant like, I thought like it was just like different tabs to put gear in. This shit is insane. The amount of detail.
Hysteria. Now, the last tab that is still really useful, but not necessarily as necessary, is the unique stash tab. This is a lot more expensive, but will save you a lot of room.
Holy
really,
shit.
really good for solo self-found in particular, and ends up being a bit of a staple there because it lets you hold
All of your
any item in the
uniques.
game, like one of each.
Yes, you
unique
can
item
hold
here.
all.
So
That's
it
the
really,
unique
really
tab.
adds up on space. Obviously,
Yeah,
this would take
somebody
multiple
recommended
quad
that
tabs to do.
in another
However,
video.
It is still pretty expensive, and if you're playing Trade League, most of these are vendor food anyway.
Yep.
There are very few things that are actually worth putting up for
Yeah,
trade
that's
or
only
worth
solo
selling,
self-found
so
mainly.
it isn't necessarily something you need as a new player. Now let's talk a little bit about the rest of the
I didn't even know there was a unique tab. Yeah, it's mainly for solo self-found. As solo self-found, you want to stack up on at least one of all the uniques and just hoard them in your unique tab. I don't know why. I forgot. My brain couldn't keep up with all the information. But there was a reason he said it. There was a reason. Solo self-found and something else.
tabs. Last tab, it is useful to have, but a lot
Flask.
of these, like gems,
Holy
flasks,
shit.
delirium, and metamorph, they are simply not necessary. And it's honestly, eventually, if you're a Path of Exile hardcore, like not as in the game mode, but you
Like
play
a
a ton
nerd
of hours,
age.
you probably will end up getting most of the tabs eventually. However, these are like sort of the least needed ones. The gem tab is probably nicer than the others there, but not that necessary. The fossil tab, same kind of thing. It will end up saving you a lot of space, but most people don't interact that much with Delve to begin with. However, definitely is worth picking up eventually. Another tab that ends up being very worth and pretty cheap is 55 points, so $5.5 on a sale, and that is the Fragment tab. Is also very good. It will keep a lot of scarabs. This will end up saving you a lot
Holy
of
shit.
space because these only stack to 10. And you can see already early in the league, I have several of these as well as a lot of these, and they also stack to 10. So it will save you a lot of points. Probably one
That's
of the
how they
least
get
useful ones of the
you.
ones that are still
They only
very
stack to
useful.
10, but in the
Definitely
stash
something I would
tabs,
consider picking up.
they stack to a
Oil
bajillion.
tab, not super important. Is a little bit extra quality of life. You can still do all of this stuff without having this. Same with upgrading. You can still upgrade just by selling 3 to the vendor, so you're not missing out on anything. So that is the main ones that is worth buying. Here is a tab of tabs. We do have like create a new folder now. This is a free system. And if you're wondering why I have so many of the regular tabs and I never ever use them, that's because we didn't used to have those like very, very good tabs that are specific, and they end up saving so much space over the regular tabs. And so these are basically 6 or 7 years old, and I have just bought way too many. So while I've spent a large amount of money on stash tabs, especially ones that I do not use, I think last time we calculated the ones that I do use actively is somewhere between $100 and $150. So obviously pretty good considering I have 25,000 hours in the game.
Yeah.
Exile obviously is a very worth game to play.
Wow.
And
25,000 hours in the game for $110. That is worth. That is worth. And like half of them, you don't need them. Like you can literally purchase the first half for 45, 50 bucks on a sale. And then as you learn to play the game, and if you're going to become a permanent user, you can buy the second half, fossils and all that other shit.
for most people will end up being, well, whatever the price of what Scry has totaled that all up to be. So make sure you buy them on a stash tab sale to save some money. The crumbs went up every 3 weeks roughly. Other than that, I'll talk a little bit about how I've set the crumbs went up
essential
every 3 weeks
stash
roughly.
tabs.
Other than that, I'll talk a little bit about how I've set mine up.
Opposite of
I
a
have the
gacha
currency tab
game.
here.
True.
I have a dump tab where I have a bunch of things inside it. So this is a folder. And then I have a few quad tabs. And I'll fill those up and sort them periodically. I have a extra just dump tab here for uniques that I already have, but I want multiple off to Val. Then I have some extra random dump tabs that they'll sort of change as the league progresses. I have the Flask tab, the Gem tab, the Delirium tab, and Metamorph, all with affinities enabled. Then this is a dump tab that I start playing the league with. So this ends up being like everything that's trash at the start just goes in there. I have a leveling items one that I use for just leveling items for new characters. Crafting, where I will keep item level 84, 86, fractured bases, influence bases, etc. Essence tab, fossil tab, fragment tab, oil tab, div card, uniques. And then here, if I for some reason run out of space in the other ones, I do have a bunch of extra quad tabs, etc. And a second currency tab if I'm playing Trade League. That's just because I help with middleman services. But that is my current setup. I hope you guys enjoy this video and it helps you. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Sub if you like the video. But more importantly, try to die less than I do.
Damn. Holy shit. That's fucking... Is there a list? No, can you... You really need to... This was April 14th. Wait, that's when it was released. That was literally like just a couple months ago. All right, so this is recent information. This is current. This is just a few months ago. This is literally during Crucible League. All right. Wow, shit, gang. I think we're gonna call it there. Eventually, we'll start the fucking POE Academy, I'm sure. You know, but holy shit. My noodle hurts. But I think that was amazing. We actually learned a lot. We actually did. I learned a lot about that first Paragon board. Now, I don't know how many there are. I hear there are like 5 or something. I don't fucking know. So we've learned about the first initial Paragon board. It started to make sense. We're getting it. It's not as scary. You know, we understand some of the machinations, where everybody starts, what's going on with it. I'm understanding the gear. I'm understanding some of the currencies. And we're just getting to it. You know. Some of the class mechanics as well. I know they did change the classes. Patch notes come out either this week. I believe that's one of the developers of POE was talking about it. Live patch notes come out this week. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not sure, or was it next week? I'll have to double check, but we'll go over it all so we can learn about the new classes. Because I know Chieftain got an overhaul. The mace dude got an overhaul. I already forgot his name. Yeah, the mid magic strength guy, the mid intellect, fucking in between barbarian and witch. God, I forgot his name, but they redid him. Though, yeah, Chris Wilson said, please play him. And then, yeah, so we learned a lot, a lot. It was excited, gang. It was kind of a bit, oh man, it is a lot. Now we just gotta soak it in, and then I think, if we just keep this up, maybe we'll pull up a guide or two tomorrow, and then we should be ready to start POE maybe within this week, maybe next week's time. We should be ready. I mean, Diablo leveling, we're not really playing too much, but we need to chug along. Whenever that patch comes out, literally leveling will get easier, so there's no need to push on that. I would like to get Lilith done before the new season of POE, though. That is the goal. So 2 weeks, guys. All right. I think that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully a little bit earlier. Work's been kicking my butt. We've been having to start a little bit late for the last couple days, but we'll be back for it tomorrow, gang. You learn more than players with 100 hours. Oh, I don't know about that, but thank you so much for all the company. I appreciate all of your time. And as usual, this is Gaignun logging out. And I will see you laters. Toodles. Peace out. Bye. I'm gonna go make a sandwich and then get some sleep. Maybe I'll get more than like 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep today. Toodles. Bye. I love you, gang. Bye. Okay, bye.